Słyszymy jeszcze raz! Amen! Amen! Chrystus reigns! And welcome back to another Bible study, everybody. Adrian, are you ready to keep it going? We're reading 9 chapters today, right?
Yep, 9.
All right, I'll go ahead and start us off. Chapter 15, concerning bodily discharges. The Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, Speak to the Israelites and say to them, When any man has a discharge from his member, his discharge makes him unclean. The uncleanness of his discharge is this: whether his member flows with its discharge, or it is, or is stopped from discharging, he is unclean during the entire period his member flows or is stopped from discharging. This is his uncleanness. Every bed on which, on which the one with the discharge lies shall be unclean, and everything on which he sits shall be unclean. Anyone who touches his bed shall wash his clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until the evening. All who sit on anything on which the one with the discharge has sat shall wash their clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until the evening. All who touch the body of the one with the discharge shall wash their clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until the evening. If the one with the discharge spits on persons who are clean, then they shall wash their clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until the evening. Any saddle on which the one with the discharge rides shall be unclean. All who touch anything that was under him shall be unclean until the evening, and all who carry such a thing shall wash their clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until the evening. All those whom the one with the discharge touches, without having rinsed his hands in water, shall wash their clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until the evening. Any clay vessel that the one with the discharge touches shall be broken, and every vessel of wood shall be rinsed in water. When the one with a discharge is cleansed of his discharge, he shall count 7 days for his cleansing. He shall wash his clothes and bathe his body in fresh water, and he shall be clean. On the 8th day he shall take 2 turtle doves or 2 pigeons and come before the Lord to the entrance of the tent of meeting and give them to the priest. The priest shall offer them, one for a purification offering and the other for a burnt offering, and the priest shall make atonement on his behalf before the Lord for his discharge. If a man has an emission of semen, he shall bathe his whole body in water and be unclean until the evening. Everything made of cloth or of leather on which the semen falls shall be washed with water and be unclean until the evening. If a man lies with a woman and has an emission of semen, both of them shall bathe in water and be unclean until the evening.
Mark,
When a
so
woman,
I want to
yeah, go
pause you
ahead.
for a moment. What do you think discharge from his member means here?
Discharge from his member obviously doesn't refer to an emission of semen, as
Yeah,
there are two, uh, differently categorized things here.
yeah.
So I'm assuming this would have to do with some sort of, hate to get gross, but some sort of, well, discharge due to disease.
Yeah, like say leprosy or something like that.
Possibly.
Yeah. So since here it has been already described for man that there are already these many things and the emission of semen as well. So we already get into detail that even men have a part as to why they become unclean in this section. But why do like femcels, feminazis, and femtards always come and see the women part, ignoring the 18 verses on top? They think it's only because, as far as I know, when semen falls on your hand or something, people get rashes from what I've seen on the internet. And also, the same thing about women's blood. It's not, it's full of, apparently, that's the reason where how people can contract STDs. So that's why it's unclean. And that's based on science. So when the science is not there in scripture, which is obvious because this was 3,000 years ago, why do people have such a problem with it as if they want to do this very certain thing which science says is bad for you and which scripture says is bad for you, but they want to do it because scripture doesn't have the scientific reason?
Chapter 19. When a woman has a discharge of blood, that is a menstrual discharge from her body, she shall be in her impurity for 7 days, and whoever touches her shall be unclean until the morning. Everything upon which she lies during her impurity shall be unclean. Everything also upon which she sits shall be unclean. Whoever touches her bed shall wash his clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until the evening. Whoever touches anything upon which she sits shall wash his clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until evening, whether it is the bed or anything upon which she sits. When he touches it, he shall be unclean until the evening. If any man lies with her and her impurity falls on him, he shall be unclean 7 days, and every bed on which he lies shall be unclean. If a woman has a discharge of blood for many days, not at the time of her menstrual impurity, or if she has a discharge beyond the time of her menstrual impurity, all the days of the discharge, she shall continue in uncleanness or uncleanliness. As in the days of her impurity, she shall be unclean. Every bed on which she lies during all the days of her discharge shall be treated as the bed of her impurity, and everything on which she sits shall be unclean, as in the uncleanness of her impurity. Whoever touches these things shall be unclean and shall wash his clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until the evening. If she is cleansed of her discharge, she shall count 7 days, and after that she shall be clean. On the eighth day, she shall take two turtle doves or two pigeons and bring them to the priest at the entrance of the tent of meeting. The priest shall offer one for a purification offering and the other for a burnt offering, and the priest shall make atonement on her behalf before the Lord for her unclean discharge. Thus you shall keep the Israelites separate from their uncleanness, so that they do not die in their uncleanness by defiling my tabernacle that is in their midst. This is the rule for those who have a discharge for him who has an emission of semen, becoming unclean, thereby for her who is in the infirmity of her menstrual period, for anyone, male or female, who has a discharge, and for the man who lies with a woman who is unclean.
Chapter 16. The Day of Atonement. The Lord spoke to Moses after the death of the two sons of Aaron, when they drew near before the Lord and died. The Lord said to Moses, "Tell your brother not to come just at any time into the sanctuary inside the curtain before the cover that is upon the ark, or he will die, for I appear in the cloud upon the cover. Thus shall Aaron come into the holy place with a young bull for a purification offering and a ram for a burnt offering. He shall put on the holy linen tunic and shall have the undergarments next to his body, fasten the linen sash, and wear the linen turban. These are the holy vestments. He shall bathe his body in water, and then put them on. He shall take from the congregation of the Israelites two male goats for a purification offering, and one ram for a burnt offering. Aaron shall offer the bull as a purification offering for himself, and shall make atonement for himself and for his house. He shall take the two goats and set them before the Lord at the entrance of the tent of meeting. And Aaron shall cast lots on the two goats, one lot for the Lord, and the other lot for Azazel. Aaron shall present the goat on which the lot fell for the Lord as a purification offering, but the goat on which the lot fell for Azazel shall be presented alive before the Lord to make atonement for it, that it may be sent away into the wilderness to Azazel. Aaron shall be present as a purification Aaron shall present the bull as a purification offering for himself and shall make atonement for himself and for his house. He shall slaughter the bull as a purification offering for himself. He shall take a censer full of coals of fire from the altar of the Lord, and two handfuls of crushed sweet incense, and he shall bring it inside the curtain, and put the incense on the fire before the Lord, that the cloud of the incense may shroud the cover that is upon the covenant, or he will die. He shall take some of the blood of the bull and sprinkle it with his finger on the front of the cover and before the cover. He shall sprinkle the blood with his finger 7 times. He shall slaughter the goat of the purification offering that is for the people, and bring its blood inside the curtain, and do with its blood as he did with the blood of the bull, sprinkling it upon the cover and before the cover. Thus he shall make atonement for the sanctuary because of the uncleannesses of the Israelites, and because of their transgressions, all their sins, and so he shall do for the tent of meeting, which remains with them in the midst of their uncleanness. No one shall be in the tent of meeting from the time he enters to make atonement in the sanctuary until he comes out and has made atonement for himself and for his house and for all the assembly of Israel. Then he shall go out to the altar that is before the Lord and make atonement on its behalf, and shall take some of the blood of the bull and of the blood of the goat and put it on each of the horns of the altar. He shall sprinkle some of the blood on it with his finger 7 times and cleanse it and sanctify it from the uncleannesses of the Israelites. When he has finished atoning for the holy place and the tent of meeting and the altar, he shall present the live goat. Then Aaron shall lay then Aaron shall lay both his hands on the head of the live goat and confess over it all the iniquities of the Israelites and all their transgressions, all their sins, putting them on the head of the goat and sending it away into the wilderness by means of someone designated for the task. The goat shall uh, bear on itself all their iniquities to a barren region, and the goat shall be set free in the wilderness. Then Aaron shall enter the tent of meeting, and shall take off the linen vestments that he put on when he went into the holy place, and shall leave them there. He shall bathe his body in water in a holy place, and put on his vestments. Then he shall come out and offer his burnt offering and the burnt offering of the people, making atonement for himself and for the people. The fat of the purification offering he shall turn into smoke on the altar. The one who sets the goat free for Azazel shall wash his clothes and bathe his body in water, and afterward come into the camp. The bull of the purification offering and the goat of the purification offering, whose blood was brought in to make atonement in the holy place, shall be taken outside the camp. Their skin and their flesh and their dung shall be consumed in fire. The one who burns them shall wash his clothes and bathe his body in water, and afterward may come into the camp. This shall be a statute to you forever. In the 7th month, on the 10th day of the 10th month, you shall humble yourselves, and shall do no work, neither the native born nor the alien who resides among you. For on this day atonement shall be made for you, to cleanse you from all your sins. You shall be clean before the Lord. It is a Sabbath of complete rest for you, and you shall humble yourselves. It is a statute forever. The priest who is anointed and consecrated as priest in his father's place shall make atonement, wearing the linen vestments, the holy vestments. He shall make atonement for the sanctuary, and he shall make atonement for the tent of meeting and for the altar, and he shall make atonement for the priests and for all the people of the assembly. This shall be an everlasting statute for you, to make atonement for the Israelites once in the year for all their sins. And Moses did as the Lord had commanded him.
Chapter 17. The slaughtering of animals. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Speak to Aaron and his sons and to all the Israelites, and say to them, This is what the Lord has commanded. If any one of the house of Israel slaughters an ox or a lamb or a goat in the camp, or slaughters it outside the camp, and does not bring it to the entrance of the tent of meeting to present it as an offering to the Lord before the tabernacle of the Lord, he shall be held guilty of bloodshed. He has shed blood, and he shall be cut off from the people. This is in order that the Israelites may bring their sacrifices that they offer in the open field, that they may bring them to the Lord, to the priest at the entrance of the tent of meeting, and offer them as sacrifices of well being to the Lord. The priest shall dash the blood against the altar of the Lord at the entrance of the tent of meeting, and turn the fat into smoke as a pleasing odor to the Lord, so that they may no longer offer their sacrifices for goat demons to whom they prostitute themselves. This shall be a statute forever to them throughout their generations. And say to them further, any one of the house of Israel or of the aliens who reside among them who offers a burnt offering or sacrifice and does not bring it to the entrance of the tent of meeting to sacrifice it to the Lord shall be cut off from the people. Eating blood prohibited. If any one of the house of Israel or of the aliens who reside among them eats any blood, I will set my face against that against that person who eats blood, and will cut that person off from the people. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you for making atonement for your lives on the altar. For as life, it is the blood that makes atonement. Therefore, I have said to the Israelites, no person among you shall eat blood, nor shall any alien who resides among you eat blood. And any one of the Israelites or of the aliens who reside among them who hunts down an animal or bird that may be eaten shall pour out its blood and cover it with earth. For the life of every creature, its blood is its life. Therefore, I have said to the Israelites, you shall not eat the blood of any creature, for the life of every creature is its blood. Whoever eats it shall be cut off. All persons, native born or alien, who eat what dies of itself or what has been torn by wild animals shall wash their clothes and bathe themselves in water and be unclean until the evening. Then they shall be clean. But if they do not wash themselves or bathe their body, they shall bear their guilt.
Sexual relations, chapter 18. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the Israelites and say to them, I am the Lord your God. You shall not do as they do in the land of Egypt, where you lived, and you shall not do as they do in the land of Canaan, to which I am bringing you. You shall not follow their statutes. My ordinances you shall observe, and my statutes you shall keep, following them. I am the Lord your God. You shall keep my statutes and my ordinances. By doing so, one shall live. I am the Lord. None of you shall approach anyone near of kin to uncover nakedness. I am the Lord. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father, which is the nakedness of your mother. She is your mother. You shall not uncover her nakedness. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father's wife. It is the nakedness of your father. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your sister, your father's daughter, or your mother's daughter, whether born at home or born abroad. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your son's daughter or of your daughter's daughter, for their nakedness is your own nakedness. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father's wife's daughter born in your house, since she is your sister. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father's sister. She is your father's flesh. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your mother's sister, for she is your mother's flesh. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father's brother, that is, you shall not approach his wife. She is your aunt. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your daughter in law. She is your son's wife. You shall not uncover her nakedness. Wait a second. Muhammad did that? Okay, anyways.
I was just about to say, it seems like half of these rules a lot of Muslims do not follow.
Yeah, because basically, I think in the NIV it mentions every time it says he or she is your relative. So when it says that, it obviously means that every relative, close relative, it says close relative. So by that, it implies that every close relative is not to be married with. But somehow I still see Muslims bringing arguments saying that cousins are not included, as if cousins are not close relatives. It's automatically in the subset of close relatives. But you can't explain certain things to inbreds, right? So, yeah. You shall not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter, and you shall not take her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter to uncover her nakedness. They are your flesh, it is depravity. And you shall not take a woman as a rival to her sister, uncovering her nakedness while her sister is still alive. You shall not approach a woman to uncover her nakedness while she is in her menstrual uncleanness. You shall not have sexual relations with your neighbor's wife and defile yourself with her. You shall not give any of your offspring to sacrifice them to Molech, and so profane the name of your God. I am the Lord. You shall not lie with a male as with a woman. It is an abomination. You shall not have sexual relations with any animal and defile yourselves with it, nor shall any woman give herself to an animal to have sexual relations with it. It is perversion. Do not defile yourselves in any of these ways, for by all these practices the nations I am casting out before you have defiled themselves. Thus the land became defiled, and I punished it for its iniquity, and the land vomited out its inhabitants. But you shall keep my statutes and my ordinances, and commit none of these abominations, either the native born or the alien who resides among you. For the inhabitants of the land who were before you committed all of these abominations, and the land became defiled. Otherwise, the land will vomit you out of. Uh, Otherwise, the land will vomit you out for defiling it, as it vomited out the nation that was before you. For whoever commits any of these abominations shall be cut off from their people. So keep my charge not to commit any of these abominations that were done before you, and do not defile yourselves by them. I am the Lord your God.
Chapter 19. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to all the congregation of the Israelites, and say to them, You shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. You shall you shall each revere your mother and father, and you shall keep my Sabbaths. I am the Lord your God. Now, I want to pause this right here, okay? For those who are somewhat new to the Christian faith, no, we do not have to hold to the Sabbath still. Am I saying God's wrong? No, I'm just saying that this is an entirely different covenant. Entirely different. We're under the new covenant. As a matter of fact, the early church had entire councils, including the Council of Laodicea, where they have debated this, and we have come to the conclusion no, we do not have to honor the Sabbath anymore.
Here.
uh, and you shall keep my Sabbaths. I am the Lord your God. Do not turn to idols or make cast images for yourself. I am the Lord your God. When you offer a sacrifice of well being to the Lord, offer it in such a way that it is acceptable on your behalf. It shall be eaten on the same day you offer it, or on the next day, and anything left over until the third day shall be consumed in fire. If any of it is eaten on the third day, it is an abomination. It will not be acceptable. All who eat it shall be subject to punishment because they have profaned what is holy to the Lord, and any such person shall be cut off from the people. When you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not reap to the very edges of your field or gather your gleanings of your harvest. You shall not strip your vineyard bare or gather the fallen grapes on your vineyard. You shall leave them for the poor and the alien. I am the Lord your God. You shall not steal, you shall not deal falsely, and you shall not lie to one another. And you shall not swear falsely by my name, profaning the name of your God. I am the Lord. You shall not defraud your neighbor. You shall not steal. You shall not keep for yourself the wages of a laborer until morning. You shall not revile the deaf or put a stumbling block before the blind. You shall fear your God. I am the Lord. You shall not render an unjust judgment. You shall not be partial to the poor or defer to the great. With justice, you shall judge your neighbor. Uh, you shall not go around as a slanderer among your people, and you shall not stand idly by when the blood of your neighbor is at stake. I am the Lord. You shall not hate in your heart any one of your kin. You shall reprove your neighbor, or you will incur guilt yourself. You shall not take vengeance or bear a grudge against any of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. You shall keep my statutes. You shall not let your animals breed with a different kind. You shall not sow your field with two kinds of seed, nor shall you put on a garment made of two different materials. If a man has sexual relations with a woman who is a slave designated for another man, but not ransomed or given her freedom, an inquiry shall be held. They shall not be put to death, since she has not been freed, but he shall bring a guilt offering for himself to the Lord at the entrance of the tent of meeting, a ram as guilt offering. And the priest shall make atonement for him with the ram of guilt offering before the Lord for his sin that he committed, and the sin he committed shall be forgiven him. When you come into the land and plant all kinds of trees for food, then you shall regard their fruit as forbidden. 3 years it shall be forbidden to you. It must not be eaten. In the fourth year, all their fruit shall be set apart for rejoicing in the Lord. But in the fifth year, you may eat of their fruit, that their yield may be increased for you. I am the Lord your God. You shall not eat anything with its blood. You shall not practice augury or witchcraft. You shall not round off the hair on your temples or mar the edges of your beard. You shall not make any gashes in your flesh for the dead, or tattoo any marks upon you. I am the Lord. Do not profane your daughter by making her a prostitute, that the land not become prostituted and full of depravity. You shall keep my Sabbaths and revere my sanctuary. I am the Lord. Do not turn to mediums and spiritualists. Do not seek them out to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. You shall rise before the aged and defer to the old, and you shall fear your God. I am the Lord. When an alien resides with you in your land, you shall not oppress the alien. The alien who resides with you shall be to you as the native born among you. You shall love the alien as yourself, for you were aliens in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. You shall not cheat in measuring length, weight, or quantity. You shall have honest balances, honest weights, an honest ephah, and an honest hin. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt. You shall keep all my statutes and all my ordinances and observe them. I am the Lord.
Leviticus chapter 20 Penalties for Holiness. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, say further to the Israelites, any of the Israelites or of the aliens who reside in Israel who give any of their offspring to Molech shall be put to death. The people of the land shall stone them to death. I myself will set my face against them and will cut them off from the people, because they have given of their offspring to Molech, defiling my sanctuary and profaning my holy name. And if the people of the land should ever close their eyes to them, when they give of their offspring to Molech, and do not put them to death, I will set my face against them and against their family, and will cut them off from among their people, them and all who follow them, in prostituting themselves to Molech. If any turn to mediums or spiritualists, prostituting themselves to them, I will set my face against them and will cut them off from the people. Consecrate yourselves, therefore, and be holy, for I am the Lord your God. Keep my statutes and observe them. I am the Lord, I sanctify you. All who curse father or mother shall be put to death. Having cursed father or mother, their blood guilt is upon them. If a man commits adultery with his wife of his neighbor, both the adulterer and the adulteress shall be put to death. The man who lies with his father's wife has uncovered his father's nakedness. Both of them shall be put to death. Their blood guilt is upon them. If a man lies with his daughter in law, both of them shall be put to death. They have committed perversion. Their blood guilt is upon them. If a man lies with a
Muhammad.
Yep. If a man lies with a male as with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall be put to death. Their blood guilt is upon them. If a man takes away, if a man takes a wife and her mother also, it is depravity. they shall be burned to death, and both he and they, that there may be no depravity among you. If a man has sexual relations with an animal, he shall be put to death, and you shall kill the animal. If a woman approaches any animal and has sexual relations with it, you shall kill the woman and the animal. They shall be put to death. Their blood guilt is upon them. If a man takes his sister, a daughter of his father, or a daughter of his mother, and sees her nakedness, and she sees his nakedness, it is a disgrace. They shall be cut off in the sight of the people. He has uncovered his sister's nakedness. He shall be subject to punishment. If a man lies with a woman during her period and uncovers her nakedness, he has laid bare her flow, and she has laid bare her flow of blood. Both of them shall be cut off from their people. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your mother's sister or of your father's sister, for that is to lay bare one's own flesh. They shall be subject to punishment. If a man lies with his uncle's wife, he has uncovered his uncle's nakedness. They shall be subject to punishment. They shall die childless. If a man takes his brother's wife, it is impurity. He has uncovered his brother's nakedness, and they shall be childless. You shall keep all my statutes and all my ordinances and observe them, so that the land to which I bring you to settle in may not vomit you out. You shall not follow the practices of the nations of the nation that I am driving out before you, because they did all the things I abhorred them. But I have said to you, you shall inherit their land, and I will give it to you to possess. A land flowing with milk and honey, I am the Lord your God. I have separated you from the peoples. You shall take therefore, you shall therefore make distinction between the clean animal and the unclean animal, between the unclean bird and the clean. You shall not bring abomination on yourselves by animal or by bird or by anything with which the ground teems, which I have set apart for you to hold unclean. You shall be holy to me, for I, the Lord, am holy, and I have separated you from the other peoples to be mine. A man who or a woman who is a medium or a spiritualist shall be put to death. They shall be stoned to death. Their blood guilt is upon them.
Chapter 21. Excuse me, the holiness of priests. The Lord said to Moses, speak to the priests, the sons of Aaron, and say to them, no one shall defile himself for a dead person among his relatives, except for his nearest kin, his mother, his father, his son, his daughter, his brother. Likewise, for a virgin sister close to him, because she has had no husband, he may defile himself for her. But he shall not defile himself for those related to him by marriage, and so profane himself. They shall not make bald spots upon their heads, or shave off the edges of their beards, or make any gashes in their flesh. They shall be holy to their God, and not profane the name of their God. For they offered the Lord's offerings by fire, the food of their God. Therefore they shall be holy. They shall not marry a prostitute or a woman who has been defiled, neither shall they marry a woman divorced from her husband, for they are holy to their God, and you shall treat them as holy, since they offer the food of your God. They shall be holy to you, for I, the Lord, I who sanctify you, am holy. When the daughter of a priest profanes herself through prostitution, she profanes her father. She shall be burned to death. The priest who is exalted above his brothers, on whose head the anointing oil has been poured and who has been consecrated to wear the vestments, shall not dishevel his hair nor tear his vestments. He shall not go where there is a dead body. He shall not defile himself even for his father or mother. He shall not go outside the sanctuary and thus profane the sanctuary of his God, for the consecration of the anointing oil of his God is upon him. I am the Lord. He shall marry only a woman who is a virgin, a widow or a divorced woman, or a woman who has been defiled, a prostitute, these he shall not marry. He shall marry a virgin of his own people, that he may not profane his offspring among his people, for I am the Lord, I sanctify him. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron and say, No one of your offspring throughout their generations who has a blemish may approach to offer the food of his God. Indeed, no one who has a blemish shall draw near one who is blind or lame, or one who is mutilated or deformed, or one who has a broken foot or a broken hand, or a hunchback, or a dwarf, or a man with a defect in his eyes, or an itching disease, or scabs, or crushed testicles. No descendant of Aaron the priest who has a blemish shall come near to offer the Lord's offerings by fire. Since he has a blemish, he shall not come near to offer the food of his God. He may eat the food of his God, of the most holy as well as of the holy, but he shall not come near the curtain or approach the altar, because he has a blemish, that he may not profane my sanctuaries. For I am the Lord, I sanctify them. Thus Moses spoke to Aaron and to his sons and to all the Israelites.
Chapter 22. The use of holy offerings. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Direct Aaron and his sons to deal carefully with the sacred donations of the Israelites, which they dedicate to me, so that they may not profane my holy name. I am the Lord. Say to them, Anyone among all your offspring throughout your generation comes near the sacred donations, which the Israelites dedicate to the Lord, while he is in a state of uncleanness, that person shall be cut off from my presence. I am the Lord. No one of Aaron's offspring who has a defiling skin disease or suffers a discharge may eat of the sacred donations until he is clean. Whoever touches anything, sorry, whoever touches anything made, sorry, whoever touches anything made unclean by a corpse or a man, or who has had an emission of semen, and whoever touches any swarming thing by which he may be made unclean, or any human being by whom he may be made unclean, whatever his uncleanness might be, the person who touches any such shall be unclean until the evening, and shall not eat of the sacred donations unless he has washed his body in water. When the sun sets, he shall be clean, and afterward he may eat of the sacred donations, for they are his food. That which died or was torn by wild animals he shall not eat, becoming unclean by it. I am the Lord. They shall keep my charge, so that they may not incur guilt and die because of it, for having profaned them. I am the Lord, I sanctify them. No layperson shall eat of the sacred donations, no bound or hired servant of the priest shall eat of the sacred donations. But if a priest acquires any one by purchase, the person may eat of them, and those who are born in his house may eat of his food. If a priest's daughter marries a layman, she shall not eat the food of the offering of the sacred donations. But if a priest's daughter is widowed or divorced without offspring, and returns to her father's house, as in her youth, she may eat of her father's food. No layperson shall eat of it. If a man eats of the sacred donation unintentionally, he shall add 1/5 of its value to it and give the sacred donation to the priest. No one shall profane sorry, no one shall profane the sacred donations of the Israelites which they offer to the Lord, causing them to bear guilt, requiring a guilt offering by eating their sacred donations. For I am the Lord, I sanctify them. Acceptable offerings. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron and his sons and all the Israelites, and say to them, When any of the house of Israel or of the aliens residing in Israel presents an offering, whether in payment or uh, whether in payment of a vow or as a free will offering that is offered to the Lord as a burnt offering, to be acceptable on your behalf, it shall be a male without blemish of the cattle or the sheep or the goats. You shall not offer anything that has a blemish, for it will not be acceptable on your behalf. When anyone offers from a sacrifice of well-being to the Lord in fulfillment of a vow, or as a free will offering from the herd or from a flock to be acceptable, it must be perfect. There shall be no blemish in it. Anything blind or injured or maimed or having a discharge or an itch or scabs, these you shall not offer to the Lord, or put any of them on the altar as offerings by fire to the Lord. An ox or a lamb that is deformed or stunted you may present for a free will offering, but it will not be accepted as a vow. Any animal that has its testicles bruised or crushed or torn or cut you shall not offer to the Lord. Such you shall not do within your land, nor shall you accept any such animals from a foreigner to offer as food to your God. Since they are mutilated with a blemish in them, they shall not be accepted on your behalf. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, when an ox or sheep or a goat is born, it shall remain 7 days with its mother, and from the 8th day on it shall be acceptable as the Lord's offering by fire. But you shall not slaughter from the herd or the flock an animal with its young on the same day. When you sacrifice a thanksgiving offering to the Lord, you shall sacrifice it so that it may be acceptable on your behalf. It shall be eaten on the same day. You shall not leave any of it until morning. I am the Lord. Thus you shall keep my commandments and observe them. I am the Lord. You shall not profane my holy name, that I may be sanctified among the Israelites. I am the Lord, I sanctify you. I who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord.
Chapter 23. Appointed festivals. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the Israelites, and say to them, these are the appointed festivals of the Lord that you shall proclaim as holy convocations, my appointed festivals: the Sabbath, Passover, and unleavened bread. 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is a Sabbath of complete rest, a holy convocation. You do not work. You shall do no work. If it is a Sabbath to the Lord throughout your settlements. These are the appointed festivals of the Lord, the holy convocations that you shall celebrate at the time appointed for them. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at twilight, there shall be a Passover offering to the Lord. And on the 15th day of the same month is the festival of unleavened bread to the Lord. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. On the first day you shall have a holy convocation. You shall not work at your occupations. For 7 days you shall present the Lord's offerings by fire. On the seventh day there shall be a holy convocation. You shall not work at your occupations. The offering of first fruits. The Lord spoke to Moses, speak to the Israelites, and say to them, when you enter the land that I am giving you, and you reap its harvest, you shall bring the sheaf of its first fruits to your harvest, of your harvest to the priest. He shall raise the sheaf before the Lord, that you may find acceptance. On the day after the Sabbath, the priest shall raise it. On the day when you raise the sheaf, you shall offer a lamb a year old, without blemish, as a burnt offering to the Lord. And the grain offering with it shall be 2/10 of an ephah of choice flour mixed with oil, an offering by fire, of pleasing odor to the Lord. And the drink offering with it shall be of wine, 1/4 of a hin. You shall eat no bread or parched grain or fresh ears until that very day, until you have brought the offering of your God. This is a statute forever throughout your generations and all your settlements. The festival of weeks. And from the day after the Sabbath, from the day on which you bring the sheaf of the elevation offering, you shall count 7 full weeks. You shall count until the day after the seventh Sabbath, 50 days. Then you shall present an offering of new grain to the Lord. You shall bring you shall bring from your settlements 2 loaves of of bread as an elevation offering, each made of 2/10 of an ephah. They shall be of choice flour baked with leaven as first fruits to the Lord. You shall present with the bread 7 lambs a year old without blemish, 1 bull of the herd, and 2 rams. They shall be a burnt offering to the Lord, along with their grain offering and their drink offerings, an offering by fire of pleasing odor to the Lord. You shall also offer 1 male goat for a purification offering, and 2 lambs a year old as a sacrifice of well-being. The priest shall raise them with the bread of the first fruits as an elevation offering before the Lord, together with the two lambs. They shall be holy to the Lord for the priest. On that same day you shall make a proclamation. You shall hold a holy convocation. You shall not work at your occupations. This is a statute forever in all your settlements throughout your generations. When you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not reap to the very edges of your field or gather the gleanings of your harvest. You shall leave them for the poor and for the alien. I am the Lord your God. The festival of trumpets. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the Israelites, saying, In the seventh month, on the first day of the month, you shall observe a day of complete rest, a holy convocation commemorated with trumpet blasts. You shall not work at your occupations, and you shall present the Lord's offering by fire. The Day of Atonement. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Now the 10th day of this seventh month is the Day of Atonement. It shall be a holy convocation for you. You shall humble yourselves and present the Lord's offering by fire. And you shall do no work during that entire day, for it is a day of atonement, to make atonement on your behalf before the Lord for God, your God. For those who do not humble themselves during that entire day shall be cut off from the people. And anyone who does any work during that day, such a one I will destroy from the midst of the people. You shall do no work. This is a statute forever throughout your generations in all your settlements. It shall be to you a Sabbath of complete rest, and you shall humble yourselves. On the ninth day of the month at evening, from evening to evening, okay, yeah, I did read that right. All right, I thought I read that wrong. Sorry. On the ninth day of the month at evening, from evening to evening, you shall keep your Sabbath. The festival of booths. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the Israelites, saying, On the 15th day of this seventh month, and lasting 7 days, there shall be a festival of booths to the Lord. The first day shall be a holy convocation. You shall not work at your occupations. 7 days you shall present the Lord's offerings by fire. On the eighth day you shall observe a holy convocation and present the Lord's offerings by fire. It is a solemn assembly. You shall not work at your occupations. These are the appointed festivals of the Lord that you shall celebrate as times of holy convocation for presenting to the Lord offerings by fire, burnt offerings and grain offerings, sacrifices and drink offerings, each on its proper day, apart from the Sabbaths of the Lord, and apart from your gifts, and apart from all your votive offerings, and apart from your all your free will offerings that you give to the Lord. Now, the 15th day of the seventh month, when you have gathered in the produce of the land, you shall keep the festival of the Lord, lasting 7 days, a complete rest on the first day, and a complete rest on the eighth day on a complete rest of the eighth day. On the first day you shall take the fruit of majestic trees, branches of palm trees, boughs of leafy trees, and willows of the brook, and you shall rejoice before the Lord your God for 7 days. You shall keep it as a festival to the Lord, lasting 7 days in the year. You shall keep it in the seventh month as a statute forever throughout your generations. You shall live in booths for 7 days. All who are native born in Israel shall live in booths, so that your generations may know that I made the Israelites live in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Thus Moses declared to the Israelites the appointed festivals of the Lord.
That's Leviticus chapter 15 to 23.
9 chapters tonight, guys. We had to. Adrian, you got anything you want to say to the nice people?
Yeah, so thank you everyone for watching. Feel free to ask any questions if you have. And yeah, if you want to join our future Bible studies, just drop us a comment and we will look into it. Also,
Amen.
we will be finishing Leviticus in our next Bible study. I think it'll be a short one, but yeah. Uh,
Yeah, okay.
Thank you for watching and glad to have you.
God bless, guys. Stay safe.